Horrid Henry's homework. Ah, thought Horrid Henry. He turned on the TV and stretched out. School was over. What could be better than lying on the sofa all afternoon, eating crisps and watching TV? Wasn't life grand? Then Mum came in. She did not look like a mum who thought life was grand. She looked like a mum on the warpath against boys who lay on sofas all afternoon, eating crisps and watching TV. Look. And there's Horrid Henry, when you see him. Get your feet off the sofa, Henry, said Mum. Grunted Henry. Stop it getting crisps everywhere, said Mum. Grunted Henry. Have you done your homework? Snapped Mum. Henry, said Mum. Henry didn't answer. Henry, shouted Mum. What? Shouted Henry. Have you done your homework? What homework? Said Henry. He kept his eyes glued to the TV. Go mutants, he screeched. The 5 spelling words you were meant to learn tonight, said Mum. Oh, said Henry. That homework. Chapter 2. Horrid Henry hated homework. He had far better things to do with his precious time than learn how to spell zipper or work out the answer to 6 times 7. For weeks, Henry's homework sheets had ended up in the recycling box until Dad found them. Oh. Oops. Henry swore he had no idea how they got there and blamed Fluffy the cat. But since then, Mum and Dad had checked his school bag every day. Mum snatched the zapper and switched off the telly. Hey, I'm watching, said Henry. When are you going to do your homework, Henry? Soon, screamed Henry. Chapter 3. He'd just returned from a long, hard day at school. Couldn't he have any peace round here? For he was king. Anyone who said the word homework would get thrown to the crocodiles. I had a phone call today from Miss Battleaxe, said Mum. She said you got 0 in the last 10 spelling tests. That's not my fault, said Henry. First I lost the words, then I forgot, then I couldn't read my writing, and then I copied the words wrong, and then... I don't want to hear any more silly excuses, said Mum. Do you know your spelling words for tomorrow? Yes, lied Henry. Where's the list, Mum asked. I don't know, said Henry. Find it or no TV for a month. It's not fair, muttered Henry, digging out the crumpled spelling list out of his pocket. Mum looked at it. There's going to be a spelling test tomorrow, she said. How do you spell goat? Don't you know how? Asked Mum. Do you know how? Asked Henry. Henry, said Mum. Henry scowled. I'm busy, moaned Henry. I promise you I'll tell you right after Mutant Madman. It's my favourite TV show. How do you spell goat? Snapped Mum. Gote, snapped Henry. Wrong, said Mum. What about boat? Why do I have to do this? Wailed Henry. Because it's your homework, said Mum. You have to learn how to spell. But why, said Henry. I never write letters. Because, said Mum. Now spell boat. Botte, said Henry. No more TV until you do your homework, said Mum. I've done all my homework, said Perfect Peter. In fact, I've enjoyed it so much I've already done tomorrow's homework as well. Henry pounced on Peter, who was a cannibal, tenderising him for the pot. screamed Peter. Henry, go to your room, shouted Mom, and don't come out until you know all your spelling words. Huh. Chapter 4. Horrid Henry stomped upstairs and slammed his bedroom door. This was so unfair. He was far too busy to bother with stupid, boring, useless spelling. For instance, he hadn't read his New Mutant Madman comic book. He hadn't finished drawing that treasure map. He hadn't even begun to sort out his new collection of Twizzle cards. Homework would have to wait. Then just one problem. Miss Battleaxe had said everyone who spelled all their words correctly tomorrow would get a pack of Big Bopper sweets. Oh, Henry loved Big Bopper sweets. Mum and Dad hardly ever let him have any. Why on earth did he have to learn spelling words to get some? If he were a teacher, he'd only give sweets to children who couldn't spell. Henry sighed. He'd just have to sit down and learn those stupid words. Mum burst into the room. Henry was lying on his bed, reading a comic. Henry, why aren't you doing your homework? Said Mum. I'll do it in a sec, said Henry. I'm just finishing this page. Henry, said Mum. Henry put down the comic. Mum left. Henry picked up the comic. It's 5:30 now. Dad burst into the room. Henry was playing with his knights. Henry, why aren't you doing your homework? Said Dad. I'm tired. Lord Henry. I'm just taking a little break. It's hard having so much work. Henry, you've only got 5 words to learn, said Dad, and you just spent 2 hours not learning them. Oh, right, snarled Henry. Henry. Slowly, he picked up his spelling list. Then he put it down again and had to get into the mood. Soothing music, that's what he needed. Horrid Henry switched on his CD player. The terrible sound of the Driller Cannibals boomed through the house. Oh, I'm a cannibal, screamed Henry, stomping round his room. Don't call me an animal, just 'cause I'm a cannibal. Chapter 5. Mum and Dad stormed into Henry's bedroom and turned the music off. That's enough, Henry, said Dad. Do your homework, screamed Mum. If you don't get every single word right in your test tomorrow, there will be no television for a week, shouted Dad. Oh, no TV and no sweets. This was too much. Horrid Henry looked at his spelling words with loathing. Goat, boat, said, stoat, friend. I hate goats. I'll never need to spell the word goat in my life, said Henry. He hated goat's cheese, he hated goat's milk, he thought goats were smelly, and that was one word he'd never need to know. The next word was boat. Who needs to spell that, thought Henry. I'm not going to be a sailor when I grow up. I get seasick. In fact, it's bad for my health to learn to spell boat. As for said, what did it matter if he spelt it S-E-D? It was perfectly understandable, written said. Only an old fusspot like Mrs. Battleaxe would mind with such a teeny tiny mistake. Then there was stoat. What on earth was a stoat? What a mean, sneaky word. Henry wouldn't know a stoat if it sat on him. Of all the useless, horrible words, stoat was the worst. Trust his teacher, Miss Battleaxe, to make him learn a horrible, useless word like stoat. The last word was friend. Well, a real friend like Rude Ralph didn't care how the word friend was spelt. As far as Henry was concerned, any friend who minded how he spelt friend was no friend. Mrs. Battleaxe included that word to torture him. 5 whole spelling words was too much. I'll never learn so many words, thought Henry. But what about tomorrow? He'd have to watch Moody Margaret and Jolly Josh and Clever Claire chomping away at those delicious big boppers while he, Henry, had to gnash his empty teeth. That'd be no good, would it? Plus, no TV for a week. Henry couldn't live that long without TV. He was sunk. He was doomed to be sweetless and TV-less. But wait, what if there was a way to get those sweets without the horrid hassle of learning how to spell? Chapter 6. Suddenly, Henry had a brilliant, spectacular idea. It was so simple, Henry couldn't believe he'd never thought of it before. He sat next to Clever Claire. Now, Clever Claire always knew the spelling words. All Henry had to do was to take a little peek at her work. If he positioned his chair right, he'd easily be able to see what she wrote and wouldn't be copying her. No way, just double-checking. Yeah, right. I'm a genius, thought Horrid Henry. 100% right on the tests. Loads of big bopper sweets. Mum and Dad would be so thrilled they'd let him watch extra TV. Hooray! Horrid Henry swaggered into class the next morning. He sat down in his seat between Clever Claire and Beefy Bert. He inched his chair over a fraction so he had a good view of Claire's paper. Spelling test, barked Miss Battleaxe. First word, goat. Claire bent over her paper. Henry pretended he was staring at the wall. Then, quick as a flash, he glanced at her work and wrote G-O-A-T, goat. Boat, said Miss Battleaxe again. Horrid Henry sneaked to look at Claire's paper and copied her. And again, and again. This is fantastic, thought Henry. I'll never have to learn any spelling words. Just think of all the comic books I could read instead of wasting time on homework. He sneaked a peek at Beefy Bert's paper. Blank. Ha ha, thought Henry. There was only one word left. Henry could taste the tingly-tangly taste of Big Bopper already. Wouldn't he swagger about? And no way would he share his sweets with anyone. Suddenly Claire shifted position and edged away from him. Rats! Henry couldn't see her paper anymore. Last word, boomed Mrs. Battleaxe. Friend. Henry twisted in his seat. He could just see 5 words. No, 4 words. He just needed to get a tiny bit closer. Claire looked at him. Henry stared at the ceiling. Claire glared, then looked back at her paper. Quickly, he leaned over. Yes, he copied the final word. Friend. Victory! Chomp, chomp, chomp. Boy, did those big boppers taste great. Someone tapped him on the shoulder. It was Miss Battleaxe. She was smiling at him with her big yellow teeth. Mrs. Battleaxe had never smiled at Henry before. Well, Henry, said Miss Battleaxe, what an improvement. I'm thrilled. Thank you, said Henry, modestly. In fact, you've done so well, I'm promoting you to the top spelling group. 25 extra words a night. Here's the list. Horrid Henry's jaw dropped, stopped chomping. He looked in horror at the new spelling list. It was littered with words, but not just any words. Awful words, mean words, long words, hard words, like hieroglyphs, trapezium and diarrhea. Ah! Shrieked Horrid Henry. That was a good story, wasn't it?